Hello, folks. This is Judy Shields with the Hollywood Times, and today we're very excited to join us today is singer-songwriter Sammy Sadler. He's got this great song, and let me tell you, it is great. If I Had a Cheating Heart, oh boy, that's coming out this Friday. Let's talk about that. It's something. The song was originally recorded back by Mel Street, and then again by Ricky Lynn Gregg. Like it's sort of like it's awesome, it's great music. It's been a while since I've heard music from the 70s to the 90s, and great country music. I've been a country music fan since I was probably since 65.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's great. It's good to be on your show, Judy.
Thank you. So let's tell us all about it. Why this song?
Well, I didn't even know Mel Street had recorded the song. Obviously, I went back and because I'd known the song from Ricky Lynn
Yeah.
and Ricky Lynn and I had been we become friends way back in the 90s and I didn't even know Mel Street had recorded the song. And whenever I
Mm.
found out he had, I went back to listen at his cut, and obviously I think it was in 77 or 78, so I was only like 10 or 11 years old then. So I originally heard the song when Ricky Lynn had put it out, and obviously Ricky Lynn and I were friends, and I loved his cut of it. And here it is 30 something years later, I've got it and putting it out, and I hope that it'll resonate, and I hope everybody will think that we've got a good cut on it.
Oh, I believe so. It's really a good one. You really bring it. You really did bring it back to life.
Well, I appreciate that. I hope that they'll think we've got a good cut on it. Maybe we put some new energy into it.
Have you been out performing it on some of the stages you've been on yet, or?
We've I've been out doing a few scattered shows throughout this last year, but I'm putting a brand new show together right now, and it's called the Hits and History Tour
Hmm.
with myself and Dave Gibson. And if you're not familiar with Dave Gibson, Dave was the front man for the Gibson Miller Band back in the early 90s, and they had a couple of hit records, but Blue Miller ended up passing away, and Dave is really one of the iconic songwriters in Nashville. He's written so many hit songs and so many iconic songs from the 80s and 90s, like Jukebox in My Mind for Alabama, If It Don't Come Easy for Tanya Tucker, Ships That Don't Come In for Joe Diffie. I mean, it just goes on and on of all of the great iconic songs that Dave has written, and I'm putting a show together with him and I right now. We're looking forward to bringing that out on the road.
Wow, where about are you guys going?
Well, we're gonna debut the show and bring the show. We're starting out in Nashville, August the 23rd at Chiefs on
Hmm.
Broadway there in Nashville, and now that's our first show for 2025, and we're starting to book shows for 25 on into 26 now.
Congratulations! How excited!
Yes, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Dave, like I said, he's a great singer, but man, he has written so many great songs. I'm just honored to be able to share the stage with him.
Well, you'll have to see if you can get him on with us. I love to talk to. I love musicians, but I love my songwriters. So we'll have to.
Absolutely. I'll be glad to pass that along to him and tell him I sure will.
Yeah, that would be great. And then we could do it like after you have your first tour, your first show. That'd
That
be
would be
kind of cool.
awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we could do that. That would be awesome.
It tells little stories about each other and some fun stuff. That would be great.
Well, it's kind of crazy. I look back over my life and my career, and I remember when I first went to Nashville and got my record deal. I was telling Dave this when him and I met a few weeks ago. I think I was 18 years old, and I was looking for songs, and I went over to, I believe it was Oak Ridge Boys publishing company at the time. I think it's called Silverline Gold Line, and Dave greeted me at the front door, and that's the first guy that I met as a songwriter. Dave was like one of the first songwriters I ever met when I was 18 years old.
Isn't that something?
It really is. It was just kind
Yeah.
of ironic.
That is. I mean, that's how that full circle, right?
It really is, and then here we are today, and going to put this tour together and be able to go out and and perform together and do a show together. It's just really, like you said, it's like a full circle moment.
Yeah, it's a blessing. Wow. See, we got a lot to talk about. That'd be cool when have you guys on after that first concert. See how it all went for you. You know.
I'll be glad to do it, and I'll tell Dave about it.
Also reading stuff about you and you know, about your book. That's that was something. You know that you did a hit with a bullet.
Well,
Um,
we've got a book out, like you said, Judy. It's called "A Hit with a Bullet: The Real Murder on Music Row" that I lived through. And basically, it's telling the story of my journey to Nashville and how I got there and when I was going there, and then it obviously tells the history of country music. If
mhm.
there's anybody out there that likes to know the history of country music, and then also it tells how people's careers are really made, and obviously me living through the murder on Music Row that shot around the world in 1989.
Isn't that something? I mean, when to me, I'd heard the song with George Strait and Ellen Jackson, and to me, not knowing about what happened to you and all that, I'm just blessed that you're okay through that. It was just amazing to think that that was about, the dying music. That's kind of what I thought that song was about because that's how I felt. I'm a country and I like the older way they did
Right.
it. And then once I started reading about your life in this, I was like, oh my gosh, isn't that just awful? That something like that happens in a place
Well,
like that.
they didn't write the song till many years after the
Yes.
murder on Music Row, and obviously, if you listen to the song, the first verse in that song talks about a man got away with murder down on Music Row and all of that stuff, and then they twisted the
Yeah.
country music's dying on Music Row, but they actually got the idea to write that song about what happened to me and my friend, and it's just they'll never admit that, but that's where they
Yes.
really got the idea to write it.
That's what I figured, and I was like, oh, it was sad that you lost your friend like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sad. Kevin and I had only been friends for about 7 or 8 months, but I feel like as time would have went on, if something like this hadn't happened, I feel like we'd have been friends for a long time and maybe even for a lifetime. Sometimes you meet people and you just have that connection, and I just I feel bad that this tragedy had to happen the way it did, and what it was all involving. Because at the time, we didn't know what it was all about, but it was really about payola and people trying to pay Kevin to move records up the charts, and he was an honest guy and wouldn't take their money.
Ugh, yeah, it's just you just don't think that would happen, on somewhere like that, in Nashville
Yeah,
and Music Row, right? It's just
yeah. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, he was an honest guy and a good guy, and it's just terrible that something had to happen to two people and change. Not only did Kevin lose his life, and I was thank God that God thought enough of me to save me and keep me. But I mean, it
yeah,
changed everybody's lives forever, and I can only imagine what Kevin's family had to go through and what they felt because I know what it done to me and our family.
yeah. Well, that is a blessing.
You
I
know, and,
heard.
and I found out later. I didn't know it at the time, but I found out Kevin was a Christian. At the time, I wasn't, and I hadn't been saved. And for God to
Oh,
save me and pick me up out of all of the people in the world, and let me
hmm.
have a second chance in life, I'm just thankful.
Yep, we are too. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate it. Well, I do remember a song back in 2004 called "Heart on a Heart." Heart on a Heart. That
Hard on
was,
the heart.
oh
Oh my
my
goodness,
gosh.
yes, that's one of my favorite songs.
Yep.
My goodness, man, one of my good friends that I've known, and he was a songwriter I met when I first went to Nashville as well, was Tom Payton,
Mm-hmm.
and Tom's one of the writers on that song, and
Uh,
it's just a great song, man. I'm glad I got a chance to record that song.
I I was actually working at Disneyland when that song, and it
Oh,
was like
you're
such,
kidding me.
yes, it was, and kind of going through a heartache. kind of leading into a divorce with my husband at the time. And
My goodness.
yes, see how things come.
Oh
That's why I
man.
love country music. It's there's just so many songs that, and that's just one I had to share with you when that was
Well,
happening.
I'm so glad you brought that up, and I'm so glad that you like it because it's, when I heard that song, it's like, you never you at the time, I don't know if there's any more I couldn't think off the top of my head, but at the
Yeah.
time, it's you didn't hear it where it was telling both sides of the of doesn't
Hmm.
matter which side you're on, you still hurt.
Yep, because it's two people involved,
Exactly.
and it was amicable. We're both still great friends to this day, but it was just knowing where I was when all that
Yeah,
happened. Working at the happiest
absolutely.
place on earth helped.
Oh my goodness. Well, thanks for bringing that song up because it's a great song.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And you've done some tours with some pretty cool people, Doug Stone and the late Jeff Carson. Oh, that was another
We
sad one.
did, 2012, me and Doug toured for about a year, and then in 2015, I believe it was 15 through 18, myself and Ken Mellons and Jeff Carson,
Carson.
we were out doing shows together. Yes, ma'am.
So you play a lot around Texas?
I used to play and tour constantly from 91 to 98. I was on the road 265 days a year.
Wow.
And I've slowed down some, but we're gearing back up to go out and hopefully we're going to be able to. Maybe we can go out and work about 75 to 100 shows a year is kind of what we're shooting for.
Oh, very, very cool. Do you have a favorite place you like to play in Texas or there in Nashville?
It's just I played so many places. I like. For me, I just like being able to go out and tour and meet the people all across the country, and every town
Nice.
is different, and it's just always you never know. It's just like you were talking a while ago about country music. Country music is to me of what I knew and what I grew up on. Country music was real life and people really living life and
Hmm.
going through those things, and if you can touch somebody in a song because music is it's very deep. It can touch you where nothing else can touch you. And if I can go out and sing a song or tell somebody what I've lived through and what I've come through, I don't know what they may be going through or what's going on in their life, but if I could sing a song or tell them my story of what I've lived through and help somebody, that I feel like I've done my job.
Yes. Congratulations. Is there a song that you heard when you were a youngin that made you, that kind of made you think, wow, that moved you, that made you want to become a singer songwriter?
Well, whenever I was young, I first got hooked on Elvis,
Oh, nice.
and I was just crazy about Elvis. I mean, I was just, I was in love with Elvis, and so that was my first major musical influence. And then obviously, as I got a little older and got in middle school and going on up in school, then I got turned on to, George Jones and Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, and Marty Robbins and all those guys. I just fell in love with country music.
Those are some great talent right there, getting to,
Oh my goodness,
oh, there's
yeah,
nothing like Cash and Haggard and nothing like the Hag, Oh, deeply
yeah.
missed.
I mean, we've lost,
So
and
many.
there's not really many left out there of those guys. Yeah, I think Willie, maybe him and Gene Watson and a few. I mean, there's
Yes.
still a few, but man, we've
Yes.
lost a lot of the great
Yes,
icons in country music.
we sure have. Oh, but we're glad that you're here and that you've got this great If I Had a Cheating Heart coming out on Friday. We look forward to getting this out for all of our listeners to find out about it. Well put. Do you have some social medias that our folks can find you?
You can, if you want to go to my website at sammysadler.com, and a while ago you brought up the book. If anybody wants to buy a book and a CD, they can go to my website, and I'll be glad to autograph a copy of the book if you get it through my website, or you can get it on all of the digital downloads and wherever books are sold. And the crazy thing about my Facebook, a couple of years ago, my blue check mark Facebook. If anybody is following that, that is not me. It's been hacked and taken over by a Vietnamese guy, and I've had to start a new Sammy Sadler official Facebook. And I was on my way to Nashville Friday of this past week, and on the way, somebody has hacked into that.
How does that happen? I'm
I
sorry to
do
hear
not
that.
know what is going on and how that
Aw.
happens. And we are fighting furiously right now to try to get it back. But it's hard to get in touch with anybody at Facebook to help you do anything about that.
Oh my goodness. So we just, our listeners should just right now go to your website at sammysadler.com.
Go to sammysadler.com, and then you can also, I don't think it's done anything right now to my music page, which is Sammy Sadler Official, but the you've got to have two pages. So my personal page is the one that has gotten affected, and hopefully when we get back, we're going to be able to see what we can do. And I've got my social media guy working on that right now. So hopefully nothing will happen to my music page. So go to Sammy Sadler Official. That's where you can find me on Facebook right now if nothing happens to it.
Okay, great. Well, we'll put that link down so that people can reach out. And once again, congratulations on this amazing remake. You did an amazing
Well,
job.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Judy, for playing the record and having us on your program. And I've got an album that we've already got cut and got it finished, so that'll be coming down the pipe. But right now, if I had a cheating heart, and I know nobody out there's got a cheating heart. So you guys go and listen to it, and I hope it makes you happy, and I hope it uplifts your day.
We appreciate that, and we will keep in touch, and hopefully we'll get together with you and Dave Gibson. That will be great after your first tour show.
I'll
It'll be
tell
fun.
Dave about you, and we'll be glad to come back and talk to you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for giving us a holler here in Los Angeles, and you take care. God bless out there, and be safe no matter what you do.
We sure will, Judy. Thank you too, and God bless you.